Hi. We had Sam's lab, and he was covering modeling, and not necessarily the modeling that we think of as teachers, especially elementary school teachers. His modeling was more of identifying a pattern through data so that you could predict something happening in the future. And so what we tried to do was think of a lesson that we could create for this and be able to adapt it to different grade levels from first up to seventh grade was our group of teachers. So we thought that the easiest way to use this type of modeling would be to show the impact humans have on the environment. And so we said that it would take 4 days, but I always give that 5th day of the week as kind of the wrap-up day, finishing anything that needs to be finished. Go ahead, next slide. So our prior knowledge, we just listed the other grade levels standards that would fit the big idea, and our nature of science would be just the observation of and looking at the data. So our main standard that we were using was was describing how when the environment changes, differences between individuals allow some plants and animals to survive and reproduce while others die and move to a new location. And that seemed like a pretty broad standard that other grades could adapt. Next slide. So our goals would be the modeling the difference in Florida habitats over a time period, describing how the environment changes, describing the effects of living organisms over that time period, using the data to predict what you think would happen in the future, and verifying your predictions with current data. Next slide. So our materials are very, very basic. I didn't list like pencils and paper and things like that, but you would need your Chromebooks or your student devices, your interactive journals. Go ahead, next slide. So what we tried to do, what this lesson would be very adaptable to online learning if you had to do that. Our district is going back to school in the beginning, but if you wanted to put this through Google Classroom or something, it would be very easily adaptable. Like any lesson, we start by activating the kids' background knowledge, introducing vocabulary. Once we had that good discussion, then we would, or first we're going to do the pretest, and we are giving a writing scenario so that whatever grade level you are teaching at, your kids could answer the prompt, and then you would just grade accordingly to your grade level. And that's listed later on what the prompt is. So then we would activate background knowledge, have your discussion, your vocabulary, and then we would let the kids choose an article that they wanted to read in their groups. We've listed 4 that we have there, and each article is very different, but it all relates back to the main topic. And so our idea was that the kids could read their article, discuss it in their groups, and then share out what their main point of their article was. So that would be day 1. Day 2 would be to use the given land cover maps that Sam created for us. The technology is a little high for our kids, especially in elementary school, so they really could not create the maps themselves, but they could analyze the maps that were given to them. So those maps are at the end of our presentation that Sam created for us, but they would do some research and use these maps as part of their research. Next slide. They would make predictions from the maps on the effects of the population of threatened and endangered species from 1992. One map is from 1992, and then the other map is from 2016. I know our state test is very heavy on Florida wildlife, and it talks a lot about our endangered species, so that's why we went that way. They are going to identify patterns and the trends in the environment. What are they seeing between these 2 maps? And they're going to predict what happens, what's happening currently to Florida threatened and endangered species. They're going to research, given, again, the map that we are going to provide. On day 3, they're going to analyze all of this data that they have, The groups are going to summarize their findings and kind of create a presentation. Again, this could be done like with posters. It could be done with, my class uses Google Slides a lot. And then they would share out. And then we would like to have kind of a wrap-up discussion on how humans can conserve animal habitats and bring that aspect of the standards in. And the last day would be a post-test, which would be the same writing prompt given to your class, but now, at the end. And again, the writing prompt is so that regardless of your grade level, your kids could do it. Next slide. That's just some of our target vocabulary that our kids would need to learn. Next slide. And then our writing pre-prompt was how do humans affect the environment? And then our post was how do humans affect the environment? But they need to use evidence from their activity throughout the week to support their answer. Next. So that is the map that Sam created from Florida of 1992, and it shows you the key there shows you urban, environment, habitat, agriculture, wetlands, and water. Okay, next slide. So this is the slide from 2016 with the same data, and it shows that the urban has really increased and the habitats have shrunk. Next slide. And then this is a 2020 map of the threatened and endangered habitats. And so the kids can kind of see where our urban has increased the most is where these endangered habitats are the most. So they can kind of make their predictions on what they think this data would mean to the animals.